Once a family tradition you always thought everyone did. Until someone asked, wait, what? Every December 31st without fail. My family would have what we called the annual purging ceremony. Basically, we'd all gather in the living room around 10 p.m. My dad would bring out this ornate wooden box he carved himself when he was younger, and Mom would hand out these special sheets of paper. Had to be the specific cream-colored cardstock from this one store. And these black gel pens that she'd buy in bulk. We'd spend about an hour writing down all the bad memories, negative emotions, grudges, or failures from the past year. Every little thing we wanted to leave behind, fights with friends, bad grades, embarrassing moments, whatever. We wrote it all down, no matter how small or petty. The rule was you couldn't look at anyone else's paper, and you couldn't talk while writing. Just total silence except for the sound of pens scratching paper. Then once everyone was done, my dad would take all of our papers and fold them into these origami-style envelopes. Another skill he taught himself specifically for this. He'd seal each one with red wax and stamp them with our family initial. The papers would go in a box, and at exactly 11:30 p.m., we'd all put on black clothes and go out to the backyard. Dad would dig a small hole while Mom would recite the speech she memorized about releasing the burdens of our past, and how what's buried shall remain buried. Then Maria, my younger sister, and I would take turns throwing in a handful of dirt until the box was covered. Mom would mark this spot with a small stone from this collection she kept, and by midnight we'd all be back inside drinking hot chocolate and talking about our hopes for the new year. I literally thought everyone did something like this. Fast forward to my junior year of college. I'd been dating Nicholas for about 8 months, and things were getting pretty serious. He invited me to spend New Year's with his family, but I said I couldn't, because I had to be home for our family tradition. When he asked what tradition, I explained it to him exactly like I just did here. Not realizing how freaking weird it sounded until I saw his face. He was just staring at me with this look of complete disbelief, like his eyes were wide, and he kept opening and closing his mouth like he wanted to say something but didn't know where to start. I was confused because in my mind this was totally normal. He finally just said, wait, what? You guys bury your bad memories in your backyard every year. In a ceremony with matching outfits and a speech. When he put it like that, it did sound a bit intense. But I defended it, saying it was just our way of letting go of negative stuff and starting fresh. I even told him how our backyard had nearly 20 little stone markers from years of ceremonies. That's when he asked if we ever dug them up again, and I was like, oh, gee no, that would defeat the entire purpose. They're buried for a reason. Nicholas got really quiet, and then carefully asked if my family was part of some spiritual movement or alternative religion. I laughed and said, no, we were just regular people who happened to have this tradition, but he didn't seem convinced. The real moment of horror came when Nicholas asked if I could show him a picture of the backyard with all these memory graves, as he called them. I scrolled through my phone and found one from the previous summer, where you could clearly see like 18 to 19 small unmarked stones arranged in a grid pattern near our fire pit. I'll never forget his reaction. He physically backed away from my phone and said, that's the most cult-like thing I've ever seen. Then he asked with a super concerned voice if we ever buried animals or if the boxes ever contained anything besides paper. I was mortified. I started frantically explaining that it was just paper, just memories, nothing weird. But the more desperately I tried to explain, the more concerned he looked. He kept asking these questions like, did we wear robes? No regular black clothes. Did we chant? No mom speech. Was there blood involved? Absolutely not, WTF. It snowballed into this whole thing where he was genuinely worried my family was in some weird cult and I wasn't in